Hey everyone, today I am here at the Port of Baltimore. I'm actually picking up at Shed 12 today. Usually I pick up right across the way at Mid-Atlantic. Today we're at Shed 12. I am picking up a crated transformer that is going up to New Albany, Ohio. I ran one of these about a month ago out to Ohio. So same thing today. I'm going to try to get it a little lower. I hauled a billboard last week, and that was only 5,000 pounds, and I actually put my trailer down in a lower setting to see how that rode, and then I took some air out of the back suspension to try to get a little lower. And that worked out okay, so I think I'm going to try the same thing with this and see if we can get this lower. The last one I hauled was like 2 inches over legal height. So if we can get to legal height, that will help with routing on the permits a little bit. So we're going to try to do that, and then hopefully we can go in. Last time I ran one of these, so New Albany is just northeast of Columbus, and the last time we ran all the way over to Columbus, and then we went around 270 and came back east at it. This time I would like to get out to like Zanesville, and then if I can come up and come at it from the west a little bit, I think that'll shave some miles off and help our rate per mile on this a little bit. So that's the plan. I'm gonna go and get set up and ready to go on this. All right guys, he came over and dropped it right on there real quick. So we're loaded, we just got to get it chained down. I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. I actually had him sit it back on the trailer a little bit so I can get shackles in there and then get one chain. Last time I had it all the way up here and I had a heck of a time getting chains on it here. So this time I'm prepared to be able to go right to the side of the trailer. And same thing on the back. Just go right across there. And then I should be able to, not the best, but I think I'll be able to get a couple straps. Maybe I'll go to this one and go across. I don't know. Not the best. But maybe I'll go there and there. Yeah. So let's do that. And then we'll have to, once I get it chained down, they'll have to measure the height, and then I'm going to adjust the back, and we'll get it as low as we can. I don't know, it's pretty high. I don't know if we'll be able to get it legal or not. So I did all this planning, and then I forgot to grab my shackles out of this end anyway. We got our chain down and strapped. So you can see 2 straps over the top, chain in the front, chain in the back. We gotta see about the height. Any of those to 11 foot wide, those restrictions don't apply to us, right? In the Maryland permit. What bridge? That's for 11 feet wide, right? that in Apris? Where is 915? Oh. Then don't worry about it. Understand why you wouldn't be able to take 70 up to the turnpike. This is Cliff. Hello? I'm good. How can I help you? Okay, well, you got Cliff. I'm the owner of Hamilton Transportation. Look, I'm at work. Is this a sales call or what's going on? Well, this isn't Jennifer. Okay, take me off your list. Hey. I was a dispatch service. Of course, you can barely understand him. And then he says, I just want to have a polite conversation with Jennifer. And I'd already told him, you know, this is Cliff, owner of the company. How can I help you? I just want to have a polite conversation with Jennifer. I said, well, this isn't Jennifer. Oh, hi, Jennifer. Yeah. And we're done. So do you think you call them and see? I just can't believe they're not letting trucks come up 70 to the turnpike. Can you do it in Classic? I know it's a pain in the ass. Got it? Okay. Alright guys, sorry about that. You'll have to excuse me for just talking to Jen. We're trying to figure out our route for taking this load out to Ohio and pulling permits and all of that. So we have decided that it's better for this load that we run the turnpike. Last time, the last one of these we hauled, we were actually at 13 feet 8 inches high, and anything over 13.6 needs a permit on the turnpike. But if your legal height, then you can run anything up to, I believe it's 10, it might even be 11 feet wide on the turnpike without a permit. So this load does not need a permit for the turnpike. So we figured taking 68 out across Maryland and through West Virginia and then up I-79, it is a very mountainous route, lots of up and down and shifting and everything. So this way will actually save us some fuel. It is about 10 miles. It's about 10 miles shorter to go this way out the turnpike. It'll save a lot of fuel. It's much faster, and we will actually pay a little less in permits because we won't have to pull permits all the way across West Virginia and Maryland. We'll go up into Pennsylvania, so we have a little bit of a permit in Pennsylvania just for the state line up to the turnpike, and then on the other end, on the west end of the turnpike, out to West Virginia on 70. So it may be just a little bit more expensive because we still have to pay the toll for the turnpike, but it's almost a wash as far as cost goes going this way, and it'll be much faster. So we decided to take the turnpike. So now that we have our route down and everything, now we can pull all our permits and make this happen. Said it's an excavator. So while I'm coming around Baltimore here, we're also trying to figure out the next load. So this week is, I don't know, it doesn't seem to be a whole lot. So there's a couple loads. There's one picking up out of Michigan, Monroe, Michigan, heading over towards Buffalo, New York. I forget the name of the town. Chaffee, maybe? Chaffee? Something like that. So that one is a conveyor belt, I think. It's like a 50,000 pound conveyor belt, which wouldn't be hard. Usually those are metal tracked, so that's a pretty easy load. And then the other one we were looking at was a load coming back to Baltimore. Had a bit of deadhead to get to it, but it was paying a little better. The problem with that one is that you just get a feel for this stuff when they're going to Baltimore and they're saying, you know, Zelle or Cash App for payment. That's an export piece, and you can really run into problems with those because the port is picky about what they will take as far as export. Now I have taken stuff in there before that it has been no problem, so that is a possibility. I think that one is close to 70,000 pounds. It's like 68,000 pounds. So that one would definitely have to come back across 68, either 68, or it could come back across 80 and down 322. Might have to go that way. So I don't know what the rate per mile would be if we had to do that. So those are the two we're looking at. Like I said, there's just not a whole lot so far. So, but we'll keep watching. Maybe one of those will work out. The good thing about the load out of Michigan is it's a company we have worked with before, and that company is pretty good, so we don't have to worry about payment or anything on that one, which is a plus. Export loads get dicey. Not always the best companies that are shipping them out. It's usually foreign companies, because they're usually going to you know, like South America or Egypt or something, and the guys that are brokering the loads are all foreign, so it can be, yeah, kind of dicey. We showed up on one of those. It was a wheel loader the one time in Detroit, and had a flat tire. Not a flat tire, it had a leaking hub on one of the axles, so it was leaking hub oil all over the place, and it didn't have brakes. So we actually called the port, the terminal that was receiving it, and asked them, you know, we said, hey, this thing doesn't have any brakes and it's leaking hub oil, and they said, don't bring it to us. So that's the kind of thing you can run into with export stuff. So Jen called on the load going to Baltimore, and it was just like we thought. Foreign guy, didn't speak very good English. Didn't know if he said it ran, but he didn't know if it had any leaks or if it was clean or anything like that. So I think we're gonna stay away from that one. Some companies you call and they have their stuff together, you know, they have all their paperwork lined up, they have it clean, they have it ready to go. And some of them you call and it's just, they have no idea. And those are the ones that you really need to stay away from. At least that's what I found in my experience. It's going to be nothing but headaches and problems to deal with. picked up a drill rig going to the port the one time, and we got it to the port and went to unload it, and the thing wouldn't start. So they wouldn't take it. They wouldn't take it off the trailer. So we ended up having to take it back home, 100 miles back to the house. And then I figured out it was the fuel solenoid. So I actually we tried to source one and replace it, and I couldn't find one. So I ended up putting a jumper wire and a switch on there instead of the fuel solenoid to get it to run. So, and then we kind of hit it, you know. So when we got to the port, I just fired the thing up and unloaded it, shut it off, got my paperwork and left. So let them figure it out, I thought. But that's you know, when you run into that, then the broker, of course, they don't want to deal with it. It's in Baltimore. They're like, load's done. But you're the one that has to make it work then. Been doing construction around the west side of Baltimore here on 695, so hopefully it's cleaned up some. I don't know, usually you sit a little while before you get on to 70. We will see. So I usually keep the load board up on my phone, just so I can see anything else that posts during the day. And then Jen is at home and she watches it from there. And then if I see something, I can just I can share it and text it to her, and she can call on it and get any information we need. There's a load out of Charleston, West Virginia. They just put the rate up on that one. We could probably get more money. The problem with West Virginia, yeah, see, that's probably too heavy for us in West Virginia. They limit the weight on their axles. So they only give you, I think they give you 45,000 on a tandem, but then they only give you 50 on a tridem. So it limits what you can haul. So I think we can do 45 and 50 is 95 plus 15. Or plus 14, sorry, so that's 109. So technically we're only allowed technically we're only allowed 63,000 in West Virginia, and that load is listed at 65. Now they will usually give you a little more, so we might be able to do that one, I don't know. That may be an option too.
This is not a test. This is not a test. I don't know if you can handle it. I don't know if you can handle it. This is not a test. I don't know if you can handle it. I don't know if you can handle it. This is not a test. You can 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 test. This is not a test. This is not a test. I don't know if you can handle it. 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 I don't know if you can handle it.
Hey everyone. So it is about 4:30. We have made it into Ohio. Stopped at the first westbound rest area on I-70 here. So anybody that runs oversized stuff, you know that Zanesville, Ohio has been had a detour going eastbound for a good while now, probably over a year anyway. maybe more than that. So we pulled this permit today, and now there is a detour going westbound. So it used to be a width detour coming east, but you were good going west. So now it is westbound. I don't know if the eastbound side has opened up now, but westbound now has the detour. So we have to drop down and go around Zanesville on 22 over to 13 and then back up to 70. And then the hotel where I'm staying tonight is actually right there at 70. Actually, we get on 70, and then I think it's the next exit we get off on 79, and then the hotel is right there, and then we're about 25 miles from delivery in the morning. So, the crappy thing about hauling these transformers is that it's just a big wooden box, so there's really no place to put a camera back there to get you an outside view. So I think what I will do is I'll get you guys set up in the cab so you can kind of see me driving for a little bit when we leave here, and then I will go back to the headband so you can have like a POV of us taking that detour down around Zanesville. So that is the plan. We got, I think we're about less than 100 miles to the hotel. So we should get there around 6 o'clock, maybe quarter after. And then in the morning, we won't have far to go to get delivered. We actually did book a load for tomorrow. 2 loads actually. So there has not been a whole lot of freight on the board today. We had 4 loads that we called on that the brokers were like, oh, sorry, you know, just booked it. So we had just missed on those, or some that we called and got information about, and then when we called back to put an offer in on it, or a bid in on it, it was gone. We talked to a guy that we have worked with before. He has a couple excavators just moving in Ohio. So they're 2 John Deere 300s. I guess they're picking up at job sites and going back to the dealer. So that's what we're doing tomorrow. Got those, and they're really good rates on it. So that'll be a good day tomorrow, and then we just got to find a load. You know, we'll just keep stringing them together, and I'll stay out till we make enough, and then I'll go home. So, or home at the end of the week. So that is the plan. So I'm going to go out, double check the load, make sure everything's staying tight back there, and then we will get some more miles done. Hey guys, sorry, I meant to do this before we got off on the detour here, and I forgot, but we can finish it up here. So we are south of Zanesville now, cutting across onto 22, and then we'll take 22 down to where it meets up with 13 in Somerset, Ohio. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can see, the sun is brutal. So I sat in traffic on 70 for like an hour. They had a lane closed, they had the left lane closed, doing some little bit of construction, I guess, but they had traffic all messed up. So that took a while to get through, but we made it. We've got about 20 miles to the hotel down this detour. should have been at the hotel at about 6 or maybe quarter after tonight. Now it's going to be 7:30 till I get there because of that traffic. My plan was to go, I have a little scooter I keep in the truck. My plan was to go up to the grocery store tonight and get something somewhat decent for dinner, but now I think I'm probably going to end up doing Taco Bell or something. There's a couple restaurants right next to the hotel. I don't know if you guys can see, but I've learned that driving this truck, so I have a Cummins 565 X15 Performance. I've learned that driving this truck, see, they have a little green spot there on the tack, and that's supposed to be, I assume that's where you're supposed to run the engine, most efficient zone there. The problem with that is if you run it up to, 1550 or 1600 every time you shift, you end up getting like 4 miles to the gallon when you're heavy. So I have found that keeping the RPMs between about 12 and 14, you actually get pretty decent fuel mileage, and I don't feel like it's lugging the engine too much. I know these Cummins engines, I've heard that they have problems with dropping cylinder liners if you lug them too much. So I definitely don't want to do that. But I've also heard that's with the economy models, the engines with the economy tunes on them. So maybe it's not the case with the performance, but I will say that running it between 12 and 1400 RPMs, I actually get decent fuel mileage out of this. Now granted, we're not real heavy with this load, but even if this load is only 26,000 pounds, that means that we're probably around 72 or 73,000, and I'm still getting 6.5 miles to the gallon, which is pretty good for a big engine like this. So if any of you guys have a Cummins X15 Performance and you're not happy with fuel mileage, because I know I wasn't when I last quarter, I averaged it all out, and I was at like, I think I was at like 3.7 or 3.8. Thought I got to do something to get a little better fuel mileage out of this thing. But that seems to have done it. Just keeping the RPMs lower, shifting earlier, not letting it get up into the power band too much. Driving with torque instead of all that horsepower up top. And it still pulls pretty good even at the lower RPMs. And you always have the horsepower there in case you need it. If you're real heavy and you have to get up a hill or whatever. it through Somerset. Now we're on 13, and we'll take this back up to 70. Just arrived here at the Lake Inn in Hebron, Ohio. I'm gonna stay here tonight. We have 25 miles to go in the morning to get this transformer delivered, and then we're on to the next load. So thanks for riding with me today, and I will see you in the morning. Hey everyone. Well, we got started at 6:45 this morning. That was sunrise. We just arrived here at the job site, so I'm gonna call my contact and we'll see about getting this thing unloaded. Well, that guy said just head back, so I guess that's what we'll do. Alright guys, that one is all done. So hopefully you guys were able to see kind of what they were doing there. It was very busy in that job site. You got to kind of keep your head on a swivel, and I didn't want to be running around with the camera and everything. There's a lot of traffic, a lot going on. They were unloading 3 trailers with those transformers on them all at the same time. So I didn't want to be in the way, but I did stick the camera back on the trailer. Hopefully you guys got to see some of it. That guy that was running it definitely had his hands full with directing traffic and getting these things off. But that one is done. So as always, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. So that'll be today. I'm actually running 2 big John Deere 300 excavators. Hopefully I can get them both done today, but you'll have to tune in the next video to see. So until then, this is Cliff with Hamilton Transportation from St. Albany, Ohio. You guys stay safe out there, and I'll see you out on the road.
This is not a This is not a test. You can hand off, you can hand off, you can hand off, you can. This is not a test. You can hand off, you can hand off, you can hand off, you can. This is not a test. You can hand off, 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 you can hand off. This is not. I don't know if you.